Bonjour et bienvenue à Le Français avec KJ. I am KJ, your teacher slash host, and for today we are going to work on our series, which we will finally end today. Yay! It's going to be a little sad to leave Charlene and Arthur, but it is what it is. Let me remind everyone that this series is for students who have had some practice using the passé composé and the imparfait to talk about the past in French. And what we're doing is we're just going to tell a quick little story. What we're going to do is we're going to use 100 words. We're going to use the passé composé and the imparfait, and we're going to tell a complete story or a complete segment of the story. And we're also going to be throwing in whatever else we can in French to demonstrate that we are proficient. All right, so let's remind ourselves of our characters again. We have, at this point in the story, we have Hélène, the cousin from Nigeria, Najat, the good friend of Charlene, Arthur, the mysterious guy she just met, and Charlene. Let's get started with our rough draft. This is the point in the series where I tell you basically what we're going to do in the story and why or how it's coming about. So, pendant le trajet en voiture, Charlene a appris que Hélène était en visite depuis le Nigeria. Elle n'appréciait pas la surveillance constante de son cousin. So, she finds out some things. Notice that we're using the imperfect to kind of talk about the background information here. She finds out that, Helen is a little annoyed with Arthur, keeps, constantly watching everything she's doing. He's watching over her a bit too much. Quand ils sont arrivés, Charline les a remerciés et s'est précipitée à son cours. Well, Charlene, remember, is the one who just wants to get through university without much drama, so she's very quick to say bye and go to her class. All right. Plus tard, en se promenant avec Najat, elle a entendu quelqu'un l'appeler. This is sort of like echoing something that happened earlier in the story where she heard someone call her name, and it was, in fact, Arthur. N'est-ce pas Arthur et la belle dame? Najat a chuchoté. Arthur a souri. Nous prenons un snack après le boulot. Vous venez avec nous? Charline hésitait. Hélène s'est avancée. Nous serons 4 et nous pouvons parler de la ville. Okay, so here is like in French, and it's basically Charlene doing that vocal hesitation. And notice that this stepping forward, c'est avancé. That is her stepping forward to become the central focal point of this action. And she's, upping the ante on the invitation. Pourquoi pas? Charlene a dit. Najat a levé un sourcil. So here we have this, kind of, not just curiosity, but hesitation on the part of Najat, who's the protective friend, who thinks maybe this might not end so well. So let's pick up the story and see if we can get it to sound the way that we want. So, pendant le trajet en voiture, Charline a appris que Hélène était en visite depuis le Nigeria. Elle n'appréciait pas la surveillance constante de son cousin. Notice we're using the imperfect here. Remember we said that anything that is happening inside the box when we arrive on the scene, and this is a new scene in the story, is in the imperfect. It's describing the background information. And what we're getting here is the background information about Hélène and her relationship with Arthur. Despite all of this, Charline, quand ils sont arrivés, Charline les a remerciés et s'est précipitée à son cours. Despite all this, notice that the passé composé makes this story move faster. So they get there, she says, thanks a lot, and she's out. Plus tard, en se promenant avec Najat, elle a entendu quelqu'un l'appeler.
N'est-ce pas Arthur et la belle dame?
Najat a chuchoté. So notice the gerund here. We have en se promenant. Like that is them in motion. This is, well, I guess it would be the present progressive, I guess, but also it's what she was doing when she heard this thing. And it's kind of in place of the imperfect. Okay, in this instance, remember we had the interrupting and the interrupted action, and the interrupted action would be in the imperfect, and the interrupting action would be in the passé composé. Here we have a gerund operating in that position. Okay, so while she was walking with Najat, she heard that. All right, and we already talked about the passé composé speeding up most of the action in this particular part of the story. Arthur a souri.
Nous prenons un snack après le boulot. Vous venez avec nous?
Charline hésitait. Hélène s'est avancée.
Nous serons 4 et nous pouvons parler de la ville.
Note the use of the dialogue here. The dialogue is carrying the story along, and it's also upping kind of the intrigue. It's putting pressure, but without actually using words to do so. Don't know where that came from. All right, so let's wrap this up with a bit of a twist, which basically is the wrinkle, this Google question. Would you go? Charlene has an answer.
Pourquoi pas?
Charlene a dit. Najat a levé un sourcil. So she doesn't even have to actually give a a a a statement about what she thinks. She can give her expression can show you what she thinks of the situation. And that, my friends, is the end of our series. I mean, we could continue it if you want to, but I would love to hear from you how you would like for it to go. So at this point, but we're going to end it with that simple meeting and confusion over like, not like, all of that. And we'll let it go with a simple date to have a snack with some friends, which, by the way, is a cultural way of socializing in France. Okay, so let me remind you that you can rewind this story as many times as you want to get all of the wonderful grammatical explanations that I've given throughout this story, and write them down if you want to. You can copy down the sentences and analyze them yourself. But I also want you to try and write a story with me as we go through these series. We won't be adding to the next sequence. Sorry, I should have changed that because this story has finally ended. So, but we will be writing another one soon. So until then, I definitely want to thank Pixels and Unsplash for the amazing photographers who provide many of the images that are used in this story. Remember that I have not animated this story because I want to support real life photographers who take real life pictures of real life people doing real things. I want to have this story to be a little more authentic and a little less imaginary. French is about everyday life and everyday living, and learning a new language is about getting out there and experiencing it. So thank you, Unsplash and Pexel, for giving us this opportunity to demonstrate that. And until next time, I want to say to you all, thank you so much for watching, and practice, practice, practice. Remember, you're not going to be perfect the first time out. Please hit like and subscribe if you have learned anything from this series or even this short video. And until next time, have a great day. À bientôt.